And today, it's going to be a little bit of a different video today. As you probably may have already seen by some people, they've already uploaded, the NASCAR season, 2020 NASCAR season is almost here. Um, and a couple of people have already uploaded their predictions, and I figured, why not? I figured, why not jump on the bandwagon as well? And and tell you guys who I think is going to succeed and who's not going to succeed and everything. Um, yeah, it's uh, it's going to be interesting. I mean, obviously, this season we have coming up. This is the final season with the Gen 6. Before we have a whole new wave, everything starts out fresh, with the Gen 7 car and everything. But anyway, this is I don't think I've ever done a prediction video like this before. With Tier Maker. I don't think I've ever done videos like this, but I have seen plenty of videos involving this site before with Tier Maker and everything. Recently, I saw Jared Lundberg, the Icebergs video of him going over his predictions, and I think, why not? I mean, why not? Why not? Might as well say who I think is gonna be in the obviously who I think is going to make the final four, and who I think is you know this is just overall for the season basically. What's my predictions and everything. So yeah, so the tiers are final four in the playoffs, winning 2+ races, mid pack, barely in or out of the playoffs. There's the okay drivers, and then there are the backers. I am going to um, uh, obviously, I'm gonna try to make this as quick as possible. I don't want to obviously I don't want. I obviously don't want this. I obviously don't want this to be way too longer than it already needs to be. Um, and mostly this is going to be unscripted and unedited. So, um, yeah, I really don't want to waste any time. So, anyway, let's get the usual backers, the backers out of the way. Um, Obviously, Landon Castle, Starcom. Obviously, I know obviously start. Most of these backer teams. I think it's not a real shock if these teams are going to be at the back that are going to be at the back of the field. Um, it's no stranger. It's absolutely no stranger, especially the Rick Ware racing cars without a doubt in my mind. Um, yeah. I could also make an I could definitely also see Brendan Gaughan as a definite backer. The only time he really shines is on the plate tracks, both Daytona and Talladega. But obviously, he's mainly up there whenever like more than half the fields crash or any of that kind of stuff. And plus that flip that he had in Talladega, that was a pretty awesome to see. That was a pretty wild too. That fall Talladega of 2019, without a doubt in my mind, has to be one of the races of the year. I definitely enjoyed the super speedway package they did provide last year. Um, I definitely like what they did. Um, with the with the much bigger spoiler and everything. Obviously, I know they gave obviously NASCAR is trying out a new short track package this year. 2020 at the short tracks and the road courses, smaller spoiler, smaller splitter size, whole bunch of new changes, and I'm definitely all in favor of that. I think it's definitely going to make the racing somewhat better. Martinsville, I don't think is going to be really that big of a difference, but obviously, I think some other short tracks and road courses, I think it will have some difference. But uh, I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I'm all for this new package anyway. So anyway, let's keep going on with the back markers here. What else? What else do we got that I'm missing right here? I think that's I think that's about it. These are all your typical backers that you would normally find at the back of the field. Okay, now we're going to get to the um, okay drivers, I guess you could say. Um, in any, you know what, how about that? You know what we're gonna do? Yeah, we'll do the okay drivers next. Um, I'm gonna throw in some bold predictions as well in there as well. Uh, First one I'm gonna put for an okay for definitely okay, is Corey Lajoie. Now Corey Lajoie, he's definitely getting better in terms of performance. The Go Fast team has definitely improved their Cup Series program. Um, you know, Corey Lajoie did have a few top 20 runs here and there, and he definitely showed top 20 speed at times throughout last season. So um, I don't think he's not. I don't think he's going to make the play. I don't think he's going to make the playoffs. He's obviously not making the playoffs because Go Fast is nowhere nowhere near some of the other teams. You know that are listed, like obviously Levine, GTG. They're not on that level. I think but definitely I think the future is bright for Corey Lajoie. If he's with a much more competitive team, I definitely see him making at least one playoff appearance in the near future. Um, the next driver I have is Michael McDowell, 34, Front Row Motorsports. I think I can actually go ahead and just put both of the Front Row Motorsports cars in there. Both John Hunter Nemechek and I don't know who else. I don't know who else is driving. What was it? Yeah, John Hunter Nemechek and Michael McDowell. Yeah, those are the two drivers. Front Row Motorsports. Obviously they're okay. They're okay on plate tracks. It's just everywhere else they're just mostly like 25th, 30th, around that range. So, but they're not. They're definitely not a back marker team. Without a doubt in my mind, they're definitely not a back marker team. But they are definitely not like playoff team eligible, I guess you could say. But so anyway, the next driver that I have that is going to be on the okay side, obviously, it's Austin Dillon. Austin Dillon, his career has been pretty interesting. He's obviously the grandson of Richard Childress. Obviously he's going to put him in that 3 ride, and obviously I know Dillon has been getting a lot more criticism for that he hasn't been producing that much on track success and everything, and some of the things he does both on and off the track, it's not the greatest, and I understand why a lot more people do not like Austin Dillon. And yeah, in the past couple of years, I've really not liked Austin Dillon quite a bit, to be honest. Even though it was cool to meet him at Dover last year. In terms of his driving, I'm just no. It's not cutting it for me, and obviously you're here to perform, but RCR, they've been in denial, I would guess you could say, these past few seasons. But I think the definite bright spot is going to be with Tyler Reddick this year. Yeah, I'm not really going to go too much about Austin Dillon because he's mostly back end top 20. He's mostly back end top 20. Either back end top 20 or basically he wrecks. That's pretty much it. So I don't think he's going to get a win unless some way somehow he gets it. I think the only way I see Austin Dillon making the playoffs is if he gets a win, and I think it's more than likely going to be on a plate track. Obviously, I know he gambled on fuel, Charlotte 2018. But it obviously it's not gonna. It obviously he has to win on a plate track. Otherwise he's not making the postseason. Um, Another one I could definitely make an argument for the okay driver. Um, the next one that I'm gonna put is Bubba Wallace. Um, Now Bubba, he's been pretty fun to watch. I mean, both on and off the track in 2019. Obviously, the whole Richard Petty Motorsports thing. Them trying to find sponsorship and everything. Obviously sponsorship is never easy nowadays in this day of racing. Um, Bubba Wallace, I mean, he definitely showed some flashes. Indianapolis specifically, he had a strong top five run. Got a few more top, couple more top tens in the season. I definitely see Bubba Wallace having a much better year in 2020. Um, the question is though, um, I mean, obviously he was mostly like 20 around fiddling 25th to 30th in points. I think he's gonna flirt with that 20 to 25 mark. He's not gonna be good. He's not gonna be good enough to make the playoffs by any. I don't think he's gonna make the playoffs. But I think there is gonna be a little bit of a little bit better performance and a little bit better stats this in 2020 compared compared to last season. I think Bubba Wallace is going to have a much better year this year, and who knows? I think he definitely could contend for more top 15, top 10, top 15s if he's obviously with the right team, around him. But obviously, I think I obviously think the main thing that separates Bubba Wallace from everybody is definitely his personality, and truly he does have one of the best personalities in the sport in this current age of the sport. Obviously, he's not afraid to open up about anything. Obviously, very relatable to me. I'm not afraid to open up about anything. Whether it's obviously Bubba was talking about his depression, mental health, and everything. Obviously, I was not afraid to talk about how I felt, and yeah, I think overall, I think Bubba Wallace is going to have a much better year in 2020. Next one I could definitely say for the okay list is definitely Dillon. Germain Gaming has just not been there. I mean, Dillon, he did get a couple of stage wins. Obviously I remember the one from Bristol in the spring, but other than that, Germain, obviously they've just not been there except on plate tracks. I mean, really, like any of these teams, like right here that I have listed right now, it's their main shot is basically their main shot is basically on plate tracks. That's pretty much about it. That's all you can say. I mean, everywhere else, it's a little bit unfair. Obviously, it's absolutely not in their favor. Obviously, the same could be said also as well for 47 of Ryan Preece. Ryan Preece, I don't think he's going to have a really good year. I mean, I thought at the beginning of 2019, I thought he was going to contend for the Rookie of the Year. And I thought he was going to have a much better rookie season than what he showed. But obviously, it's early in his career. But it's definitely a state of concern. To see what's going to happen to Ryan Preece, especially after 2020. I'm not feeling the utmost confident that Preece is going to have a better year, but I don't think he's going to have a worse year either. But he's kind of stuck in the middle for me. I don't know what it is. He's just kind of stuck in the middle for me. He's just going to be right in the middle of all this. Yeah. Ryan Preece, I don't know. I mean, obviously we'll see, but for now, he's basically an okay to me. Um, Next one, I think there might be one more. Yes, I think it is going to be one more. Um, Obviously, it's the 37 of now Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Stenhouse, obviously, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., all the memes. My most hated driver of all time. Yeah, I freaking hate Stenhouse with a passion. Uh, and obviously, it's shown over the past couple of years. You know how much I hate Stenhouse. Um, you know how I'm always laughing when he wrecks and everything. It's because he's not that great of a driver. Let's be real. Nah, nah. I'm not gonna offend people. But ever since his two Xfinity Series championships, I have to be real with you. He has just not lived up to expectations in Cup. Um, Obviously, he did show. So obviously, I thought 2017 was going to be a decent season for him. He got two plate wins, obviously. Um, but other than that, he's either mostly he's been crashing or performing mediocre. And usually Stenhouse he's what he gets hot early on in the season, but then it literally starts to cool down as the season progresses. And I think it's going to be the case again in 2020 where Stenhouse is going to have a somewhat decent start to the year, but then obviously it's all going to come crashing down. Um, and with him now being in JTG equipment, obviously a little bit less performing than Roush, in my humble opinion. Um, I don't think it's I don't think it's going to be a much better year for I don't think it's going to be a much better year for Stenhouse. He's probably going to get hot. He's probably going to be some fiddling around 10th to 15th in points, I guess you could say, early on in the season. Um, but obviously he's Ricky Stenhouse Jr. for a reason. He's not going to have a good year. So, with that being said, that is all of the drivers that I probably should have for the OK and the backers. I think now to speed this up a little bit in order, we're gonna go in in number order. Who's gonna barely make the playoffs? Who's gonna be in the playoffs, and who's gonna make the final four? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the 12 drivers that are in the playoffs, obviously in this bracket. I'm gonna put the ones that are barely gonna make it in here, and then I will take those drivers from here and put them in the final four. So let's go ahead and just do this. Just do this in number order. Aric Almirola, he is going to be mid pack. Now, obviously, I know this is gonna kind of upset Joe, Eric 10 Almirola fan. I know, but if I'm being real, um, Eric has just. I mean, he's fast at times, and he definitely was leading laps throughout the season, especially when he switched over to SHR. But he hasn't been but the thing is, he hasn't been closing out. He hasn't been closing out races. That's the main thing that obviously obviously is going to once again probably plague him. He can't close out races. Obviously, I know there's obviously a few other drivers I could definitely say the same for. But when you're in SHR equipment and you've only got one win to your credit and it's at a plate track, of all places. And obviously, you only have one win after 2 full seasons in SHR equipment. Obviously, it's a little bit concerning. Um, it definitely isn't. It definitely is. I could promise you that the number 10 is definitely playoff is definitely playoff eligible. No doubt about it. Um, but I think Aric Almirola, he's probably once again going to have to rely on points this year heavily, and the main thing I think that's um yeah I think that's about it. I think points is mainly going to once again going to have to, obviously Almirola is going to have to rely on points heavily. I think that's all I got to say on him. The next driver that I'm going to say has to be mid-pack, barely, probably barely in, is Clint Bowyer. Now, Clint Bowyer, he's obviously, I know I might get I might get a little bit more hate for this, but obviously Clint Bowyer, he has a great personality, but the problem is, he's definitely capable of winning races. Problem is, I don't think the equipment isn't there for him. Let's say for instance, obviously he did score a couple of wins in 2018. 2019, unfortunately, he went winless. I think he did. I think he went winless. Correct. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but 2019 was just overall a bad season for Bowyer. I think it's definitely also another. What was it? He was also another driver fiddling with contract year or something like that. But Bowyer, he's probably gonna have to prove he's really gonna have to step it up this year if he wants to keep his ride at SHR. Otherwise, I don't think that 14 is gonna last that much longer. The same could be said. Not really the same could be said, but I'm also gonna add Cole Custer to I'm just gonna add Cole Custer to that as well. I mean, Cole Custer, he's had a really great Xfinity Series career. A definite great Xfinity Series career. He's definitely has the drive to put that car in the top 10. I definitely see a few top 10 runs from top 10, top 15 runs from Custer. Obviously he struggled in his first few starts in the Cup Series, but obviously he was with a lower funded team. SHR, I think this is going to be his first really big break, and I think this is we're really going to see what Cole Custer can do. He finally got that Cup Series break he's always wanted. I think it's gonna be interesting to see what Cole Custer can do. I think it's gonna be interesting to see definitely interesting to see what Cole Custer can do in that 41 car that used to be Daniel Suarez. Which, by the way, we're still waiting on whether Daniel Suarez is. I think what was it? Daniel Suarez. I think he's going to be in the 96 now. So yeah, 96 Daniel Suarez. I'm actually going to put Daniel. If this is true or not, I'm actually going to put that 96 in the okay category, because Suarez is he's an okay driver. Obviously, he won an Xfinity Series championship with JGR, one of the top teams. But obviously, he did kind of underperform at SHR, and he was on the verge of being let go, and I definitely saw and that proved to be the case. But the 96. I think he's 96. I think he's definitely going to be I think he's going to be okay. I think it's just going to be an okay. I probably see 20 probably gonna. I think he's gonna. I think he's probably gonna miss the playoffs entirely. I think he'll just fiddle probably around maybe 20th, 21st, 22nd, or no, well, actually, I shouldn't set the bar that high. I should probably put it at around 25th, because 96 is just not a good team over. It's just absolute garbage team. But anyway, obviously to speed this up, I'm gonna start. Yeah, I should really start speeding this up. I'm just gonna start who I think is gonna make the playoffs and everything, because I think I've already started with the mid pack guys, and I'm just blabbering about it at this point. Remember, this is unscripted. This is unscripted and unedited, so bear with me on that. But yeah, I'm still trying to work out Adobe Premiere Pro and everything, so bear with me. But so my first driver obviously it's a no brainer who's going to be in the playoffs. Denny Hamlin, without question, I think he's gonna win at least 3 to 4 races, in the regular season. Obviously his pit crew choked at Homestead, when he was in the Final Four. But I think Denny Hamlin he's still going to get at least three to four wins this season, because he was coming off of his best career season. I think it might be a little bit downward in terms of wins, because obviously I'm pretty sure, that final four choke really probably got to him. I don't know if that's going to affect him this year, but I think he's still going to get at least 3 to 4 wins. I apologize for that. Next one I see is I'm definitely going to put the Penske cars in. Ryan Blaney, Brad Keselowski, and Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano. Penske, they recently had their crew chief swaps. Todd Gordon, I think, goes to Ryan Blaney. Jeremy Bullins, I think, goes to Brad Keselowski, and Paul Wolfe went to Joey Logano. I still think they're all gonna make the postseason. I think they're definitely all gonna make the playoffs. I definitely see at least one win for both Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano. But I think Ryan Blaney with Todd Gordon as his crew chief. Obviously Todd Gordon, he's capable of winning at least 3, 4 to 5 races per 5 races per season. Ryan Blaney, I think he's definitely going to have the most wins out of the Penske cars. He will score at least 2 wins. But I think I definitely see Ryan Blaney having the most wins out of the Penske guys. Jeremy Bull, I think the biggest loser out of all this, with the crew chief swap, it has to be Brad Keselowski, because Jeremy Bullins, when he was working with Ryan Blaney, they were mostly around 9th, 10th, 11th in points, and Brad Keselowski usually is typically around a top 10 points guy. Typically top 5, sometimes top 5, but mostly back end of the top 10. Obviously he hasn't had the luck in the rounds these past couple of seasons. And I think obviously it's going to once again be the case this year for Brad Keselowski. I don't think he's going to make it past the round of 12. If I'm being brutally honest, or best case scenario, I don't think he's going to make it past the round of 8 either. Penske cars are just still a little bit. They're there, but they're just a little bit lacking behind JGR and a couple of the other teams. It's mainly JGR pretty much, because Toyota has just straight up just been dominating the league these past, ever since they came to the sport. They have just literally just taken the lead. They've just completely taken over the sport. I mean, obviously, it's a no-brainer. Kyle Busch, he's making the playoffs. He's without a doubt making the playoffs. At least 6 to 7 wins from him. It's not a shock. Truex, even with a new crew chief, I think he's with, obviously he's still in that 19 ride. He's definitely going to have a downward year in terms of performance. I don't think he's going to have that many wins as well. But I think he's still, I definitely still see a win or two out of Truex, and he will still make the postseason. But I don't think it's going to be enough to win the championship unless some way somehow he goes on a tear in the rounds. Obviously, I could probably say the same for Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch, I think he's still fiddling. This may or may not be his last year. Coming up. Maybe a couple more left in him, but Kurt Busch, he's getting up there with age. But Ganassi has definitely been a lot better. Has definitely been pretty solid equipment for Busch. Hell, I might as well throw Larson in here too. Ganassi, the Ganassi cars, they're pretty decent equipment. But yeah, Kurt Busch, I think I probably may see it. Probably one. I think he's once again gonna fiddle with one win. I think it's probably gonna come, probably in a mile and a half again. I mean, he did clutch it out at Kentucky, with that insane battle with the Busch brothers. I think Kurt Busch. I think he's probably gonna be. Yeah, Kurt Busch is gonna be around at probably maybe one. At least I think he's probably only going to get one win this year, and I don't think he's going to last that long. However, in the rounds, I don't think I see him advancing past the round of 12. If I'm being completely honest, Larson. Now Larson, this is where things get interesting with Larson. This may be his last year with Ganassi. There is rumor that he may be taking over Jimmy Johnson's ride after this season, after Jimmy's swan song season, which I know I'm still crying about, but it is what it is. But Larson, I'm gonna predict he gets 3 wins this year. 3 wins. He did have a very dominant performance at Dover the last time I was there. And I think he will fiddle around with that championship 4. But is he a pick in my Final 4? That's the question. And what was it? I don't think I said this at the beginning of the video. I could be wrong with all these predictions, and obviously I hope I am, because I want to be proven wrong in some way, shape, or form, and I want to laugh at myself pretty much, or you guys can laugh at me whenever I make these stupid predictions. I think that's okay. Let me go ahead and just keep fiddling around with the drivers. Erik Jones. There we go. There we go. That was the one I had in mind. Erik Jones. He definitely had a much better. He definitely had a much better year in 2019. Came through with a clutch win at Darlington. I think he's once again going to be one of the favorites heading into the throwback race. Um, I think he's definitely going to be one of the favorites heading into Darlington, and I think he's going to definitely clutch it out. Again, but what separates there, but obviously what impresses me the most about Erik Jones' season in 2019 was his consistency in the summer that got him in the playoffs. Obviously, the round of 16, he DNF'd in every single one of them, and obviously it just mechanical failures and everything. It happens. It happens. I mean, you straight up had a bad round, and that's okay. I mean, Erik Jones, I think he's still a very solid driver. I think he's once again going to get at least one win this year. I don't think he's going to last, however, that long in the playoffs, but I think he will do better. I think he will at least get past the round of 16. At least past the round of 16. If he gets top 10 in standings, I think that's a definite win. And I think JGR I think has definitely helped him develop into a nice young prospect for years to come. So yeah, I think Erik Jones he's definitely gonna have a much better year. Now here's where things are gonna start to get a little bit interesting. Here's where things are gonna start to get a little bit interesting. First off, I have Alex Bowman as well making the playoffs. However, I don't think he's going to get a win. I think Bowman is once again going to have to rely on points. I don't think he's gonna get a win. But I think he'll be consistent enough to make the playoffs on points. He'll have a decent cushion. But obviously we'll have to see what Bowman can do in the postseason. And I mean, obviously it's been hard for him to get past the round of 12, as you probably have seen in the past two seasons. But Alex Bowman, I think he maybe he'll get a win. But if I'm being completely honest, I don't think he will get a win. I don't think he will get a win in the regular season. At least in the regular season. Same I think could be said. What I mean say could be said. So how many times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so I already have 10. I already have 10 drivers in the playoffs. I'll go ahead and just throw Chase Elliott in there. Chase Elliott, obviously one of my other favorite drivers besides Jimmy. Been following him since his Xfinity days, or since his ARCA days, I should say. So I've been following Chase Elliott for quite a while. He's definitely getting better with each year. 2018 was statistically the best season, but I thought Chase Elliott at the Roval, he showed his resilience. And obviously he's a very, very, very good road course racer. And I think he will once again show at the road courses this year that he definitely can put that car into victory lane. And obviously, he's the fan favorite, and I think he's definitely going to make the playoffs without question. With one of the top teams, Hendrick, well, not really top teams. I mean, they've been kind of degrading a little bit, but yeah, Chase Elliott, he's without a doubt making the playoffs. Chris Buescher in the 17. He's a mid-pack. Now, Chris Buescher, he's had an interesting career. Chris Buescher has had an interesting career. Chris Buescher, when he was with JTG, he showed a lot of potential with JTG equipment. He had a few top 15 runs. He even fiddled with the top 10 a few times. He was especially good on the short tracks. He definitely Bristol in particular. I mean, Chris Buescher, he straight up impressed me at Bristol. I think with him now being reunited with Fastenal, and now that the Fastenal curse has been lifted, thanks to Darian, Chris Buescher, he is probably gonna fiddle with why do I keep saying fiddle? What the hell is going on with me? But Chris Buescher, I think he's barely gonna make it. Barely. Roush equipment, without a doubt, I think is a tad bit better than JTG. I'm fairly confident that he's going to be decent enough on points that he'll just make the playoffs, but I don't see him advancing past the round of 6. I don't see him advancing past the round of 16, because Roush Fenway, I mean, I know they've been trying their hardest to improve over the years, but it's been very, very slow going. It's been very, very slow going. I could definitely say the same for Ryan Newman. Ryan Newman, the ogre, basically the whitest car on the track. Ryan Newman, obviously he made a mental mistake at the Roval, and in 2019 he definitely showed that he is going that I think he's definitely going to show he definitely showed that he definitely can put that 6 car in victory lane. He could definitely put. Why did I say victory lane? Son of a gun. Sick. Well, actually, he did. He almost did put it in victory lane at Talladega. What am I saying? Ryan Newman. I don't even know what the hell I'm saying anymore. So this is what I get when I don't unscript and unedit my videos, and this is when I'm just blabbering all the damn time. But yeah, Ryan Newman. He's probably gonna be, once again, gonna have to rely on points. I don't think he's gonna get a win. It's gonna be close. I mean, Newman is interesting. Newman is interesting, but especially with what he runs. Especially with what he ran last year. He obviously put the 6 car in positions where it probably shouldn't have been. And I think that's once again going to come into play this season. But in reality, I don't think Newman is going to advance far in the playoffs. And I think I mean, he'll be consistent, but I think he's going to be probably fighting for that last spot once again. Plus, I don't know what the future is going to lie ahead for him as well. Next one is someone that I think is probably going to fit. I think he's barely going to make it. But I think he's barely going to make it. Or why should I say not make it, but yeah, Matt Dibenedetto. He's barely gonna make it in. Now, Matt Dibenedetto, he's been, he started out with Go Fast equipment. Obviously wasn't the greatest. 2019 switched over to Leavine, and 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 obviously he has been fiddling with the top 10, top 5 for a good majority of races, especially down the stretch to the playoffs. And even when Dibenedetto wasn't at his peak, he still put that car at least in the top 15, top 20, and now he's with a better team. Because the Wood brothers are technically a better team than Leavine, because Wood brothers are affiliated with Penske. And obviously Paul Menard, he's been average, neutral, back kind of way. But I think Matt Dibenedetto, he's definitely going to take Wood brothers to the absolute next level in 2020. I mean, he's definitely going to have a much better year in terms of stats. But I think he's barely going to make it. But I don't think it's going to be enough, like I said, to at least get a top 10 points finish. But you know what I mean. The other driver I could say for barely in mid-pack is Tyler Reddick. Now, Tyler Reddick, with him being now in RCR equipment, this is obviously he's been in RCR equipment, a couple of years at Xfinity, and now 2020 is his first full-time Cup season. Tyler Reddick, I think he especially showed that he has potential in the Cup Series when he was running closer to the front of the field at Kansas in the spring. Tyler Reddick, I think he's probably also going to walk away. It's going to be a close battle, I think, between him and also Christopher Bell, which I'm also putting Christopher Bell in barely in. As barely in. Christopher Bell and Tyler Reddick, I think obviously 2020 we are going to be in for potentially a really great Rookie of the Year battle. And both Tyler Reddick, Cole Custer, Christopher Bell, they all have ample amounts of talent, whether you know it or not. They all can drive. They can all drive their equipment at top level. They can definitely put the car in. They could definitely put their cars at the front of the field, and they could definitely take chances when others can't. But RCR equipment isn't the greatest. Stewart-Haas, they're better, but the 41 wasn't that great in 2019. And the 95 of Leavine, now that they're aligned with Joe Gibbs Racing, they've been improving. But I think these three right here, Tyler Reddick, Cole Custer, Christopher Bell, they're definitely top 20 teams. But I don't know. I don't think it's going to be. It's going to be interesting to see what they do this season. But I think they're probably going to be fighting for either barely making it in or just another rookie Rookie of the Year battle. I'm just going to go ahead and put Kevin Harvick in the playoffs. I mean, Kevin Harvick, his age is starting to get up to him. It's starting to catch up, but it hasn't been all gloom and doom for Kevin Harvick. It hasn't been all gloom and doom for him. Obviously Stewart-Haas, it's without a doubt he is the best Stewart-Haas car it's definitely capable of winning at least 4 to 5 races per year. But I think Harvick. I'm just gonna predict this up. I think it's gonna be a little bit of a down year for Harvick. He's still gonna get 4 to 5 wins, but I don't think he's gonna make the championship 4. Stewart-Haas equipment. They're Stewart-Haas equipment. That 4 car specifically, it's definitely got horses under the hood. But obviously, I don't think it's on the. I still don't think it's on. It's there, but obviously it's not as dominant, I guess you could say, as the GGR camp. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's 12 drivers right there. Yeah. I'm also going to throw in William Byron in the playoffs. I think this year, I think it's the year he finally gets that first win. Let me just go ahead and just edit this because I think because obviously I think the two is just probably easily confusing. By the way, here's the person who made the tier list. I'll link his thing down in the description. But yeah, I think Byron, he's definitely gonna get that first win this year. It's been long overdue for him. He definitely has pulse speed. He shows up in qualifying, but obviously he needs to have a race where he can actually close it out. And I think this year he's finally going to get at least one win this year. I think he's finally going to get that first win. The question is where, and I don't know, and I really don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know where it's going to be. And now, oh God, the moment you've all been waiting for is my boy, the fate of this channel, my soul, my bread and butter, my rock and my shield, my hero, going to make the playoffs. The answer is yes. He will make the playoffs. Jimmie Johnson will make the postseason. Cliff Daniels. Now let me tell you something about Cliff Daniels. He's obviously been involved with the 48 team, especially in their 2016 championship run. When Cliff Daniels was an engineer, and when he was at the track, that car was at least in the top 10. At least in the top 10. When it was announced that Jimmy and Kevin Meendering would be split, which obviously I knew from the get-go that Jimmy and Kevin, it wasn't going to work out. It wasn't going to work out at all. Especially with some of the calls that Kevin makes. I mean, sure, yes, he did provide more top 10s and more laps led. I guess you can say that too. He definitely provided more top 5s, top 10s, when Meendering was on board. But for the most part, Jimmy was mostly 15th to 20th, like almost every week when Meandering was on the box. He would be lucky if he even got a top 10. Jimmy would be lucky if he even got a top 10. Now, with Cliff Daniels, on the other hand, he's been able to put the 48 car inside the top 10. Back inside the top 10. I know it's all been bad luck. I know it was all bad luck and everything that cost Jimmy the playoffs last season. But before that, we were running top 5, top 10, for Christ's sake. We were fiddling with the lead at Texas. I'm like, are you kidding me, bro? Are you kidding me? And yet you still can't win the damn race. Good God, man. I think Cliff Daniels is without a doubt going to put Jimmy Johnson back in the playoffs. At least for his final season. Do I see a win out of him? I definitely do see it. The question, though, it's going to be interesting, though, to see where it comes. Plate tracks have been pretty interesting to Jimmy. At least in the past couple of years. Obviously got wrecked a couple of times in the Daytona 500, but still managed to rally for a top 10. Daytona in July. Daytona in July. Fiddling, starting around mid-pack, but somehow managed to finish third. After the rain-shortened race, even though Jimmy probably should have finished second. But, it is what it is. Mile and a halfs. Jimmy's been getting better on mile and a halfs. I mean, if you saw the Texas race in the fall, we were leading laps. We were, obviously, it's there. It's there. It is there. But obviously, I think the tracks, however, that I think are going to be a bit concerning to Jimmy this year have to be the road courses. Why did I say road courses? Well, yeah, I mean road courses in a way because, or I should say like the really heavy drafting tracks. I guess you could say. I think Michigan. Probably might be the biggest weakness for Jimmy, and I think New Hampshire might be the same thing as well, because those races just I don't know. They're Michigan heavy on the drafting. Jimmy just has not adapted to that well, especially with the new package. Just has not adapted well to that. New Hampshire, I overall just hate that track, and I don't know why it's still on the schedule, to be honest with you, but New Hampshire is just to me. New Hampshire is just to me, and obviously Jimmy's not been performing well at that track either, so I really don't care. New Hampshire, to be honest with you, is like the one race I just don't want to watch. Period. Because really nothing happens in that race. Nothing happens in New Hampshire. Nothing happens in New Hampshire. I just straight up just do not like that track at all. But yeah. So there's all my picks that I have, in the playoffs, mid-pack, okay, the backers. Now it's time to say who my Final Four is going to be. And the first driver I have for my Final Four is none other than Chase Elliott. I think this is the year where Chase Elliott is finally going to make the Final Four. Does he have the speed to win the championship, though? Maybe. Maybe. I don't know what's gonna be for Chase Elliott, but obviously the Elliott fan base is gonna riot at the seams. If Chase crashes out and everything, and I could definitely see why there's a lot more Chase haters. That he's, obviously that all the other Chase fans are just annoying, and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I know things that others don't, so yeah. Chase Elliott, it's gonna be close to him on the championship, but it's gonna be close to him on the championship. I'm not gonna say who my championship prediction is. I mean, I probably, or maybe I should. Maybe I should just do it because why not? Next one I have is without a doubt Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin, I think he's, like I said, I think 4 to 5 wins out of him. I think he's easily going to cruise through the rounds again. I think he's once again going to fiddle with that Final Four, but the question is going to be, can his pit crew not choke it, and can he actually have a clean race, and can he actually, get the job done? Kyle Busch, without a doubt, again in the Final Four. 6, 7. I mean, I may not like Kyle Busch's off-track personality, but goddamn, he can drive a car. He can drive a goddamn car. He can drive a car. He can burn that thing to the ground. He can drop the pedal to the floor, and I'd say he's going to get 6 to 7 wins. And I think he's an easy Final Four prediction. Easy Final Four prediction. He just fresh off championship number 2. He's probably gonna. I think he's definitely gonna make Final Four, and I think I could definitely make the argument for him winning his 3rd championship. It's gonna be interesting. It's obviously, it's obviously a no-brainer that Kyle Busch is going to be dominant, but the question is, how dominant is he going to be? Yeah. And the final driver that I have that is going to make the Final Four. You guys ready for this? No, I'm just kidding. I'm not. No. Well, the rest of these are pretty clear-cut favorites. I mean, some of these are pretty glaring. I'm gonna be real with y'all. I'm gonna say Kevin Harvick. Kevin Harvick, I think he's once again just, I think, Harvick, he's still gonna have a great season. I think he's a definite potential Final Four candidate. But the thing is, I don't see him winning the championship. I think he's probably gonna get 5 wins. Around 4 to 5 wins. I think I said that earlier, but 4 to 5 wins. But I just don't think he's going to have enough for the championship. Larson, I would have picked Kyle Larson. The problem is, when it matters the most, Kyle Larson some way, somehow seems to choke it away. And obviously some things are not in his favor. Some tracks in the playoffs are definitely not in his favor. But it's going to be. I think Kyle Larson. I would have picked Kyle Larson, but if he were to make the Final Four, I definitely could see Larson having a shot at the title. But Obviously, I'm trying to be real with y'all as possible, but I think it's going to be Kevin Harvick. So I think it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be Kevin Harvick, Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin, and Kyle Busch that are going to be my picks for the Final Four. And I'm just going to be real with y'all. I'm thinking Kyle Busch is going to go back-to-back in terms of championships. Kyle Busch straight up is just one of the most dominant drivers of this day and age of the sport. And I think he's going to close out the Gen 6 era on a high note. I think he's going to win another I think he's going to win another title. The Gen 7 car, now obviously everything starts from scratch pretty much when the Gen 7 car comes out for 2021. It's going to be interesting to see who's going to take that chance and who's going to excel with the new car in 2021. But obviously 2020, obviously it's basically it's mostly going to be kind of like this year and last year, but it's except with the new package, for the short tracks. We'll see who can truly perform on those tracks. But obviously, I could be proven wrong. Like I said, I could be proven wrong in any of these in any way, shape, or form, and I want to be proven wrong. In any logical capacity. But anyway, guys, I thought I might as well do something like this for the first time. Hope you guys did enjoy it. I mean, I apologize that this video is going to be about an hour long, which I did not originally intend on doing, but more than likely I'm going to premiere it. But anyway, that's going to officially do it. We'll see what happens in the 2020 NASCAR season. We'll see what happens in the 2020 NASCAR season. It's gonna be fun. I think we're gonna be in for the racing product overall. I think we might be in for a much better. I think we're gonna be in for a bit of a better season. Especially on the short tracks, but obviously I don't think it's gonna be that much of a gain. But we'll see what happens. I obviously could be proven wrong in any way, shape, or form on that. But anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching. This is something I thought about doing, and I figured why not, because the NASCAR season is almost here. Race reactions are going to be returning to the channel in a couple weeks. We're also getting ready for the eNASCAR Pro League qualifying season 2. That's just around the corner. Obviously I've been making a couple of vlogs lately. Hope you guys have enjoyed that. Been thinking about and also I'm going to be thinking about doing some new things this year with the channel in terms of in terms of new video projects and all that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, I'm gonna link the tier thing in the description. Obviously, comment down below who you think. Comment down below your tier, your list. And feel free to also make one of your own. And I would like to see what you guys have to say. What are your predictions for the 2020 NASCAR season? But anyway, obviously I know Jared Lundberg, the Iceberg, has already done a video on this, but obviously he kind of inspired me to make this video. But so shout out to him. I'll link his channel in the description below. But anyway, guys, that's it. Thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, join the Blue GB Revolution today, and I will see you all on the next video. And remember to always stay humble and kind.